Bitcoin saves the day, and Sam Bankman-Fried's jury is revealed. That and much more on today's show of Sin City Crypto. Welcome. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts, and today, like every single weekday, we're coming at you live from our beautiful studio here in the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada. If this is your first time checking us out, we are an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take old, boring, redundant, and stale information and we make it fun, exciting, engaging. So to you watching in the chat, stay engaged, like the video, say hello if you're new here. We got special Olas coming at you your way today. Now, speaking of special, today we do have a special co-host joining me. It is none other than the man himself, the triple threes, Crypto Lifer. How you doing, bro?
What's going on, man? Good to see you.
Hey, man, second time this week, man. It's pretty awesome. We're excited to have you. We know you're a very busy, in-demand person, so thank you so much for joining us. How have you been, man? It's been a long 2 days.
You know, when I came on the channel earlier this week, you said you introduced me as a friend and also, you know, a fellow YouTuber.
Yeah.
And that's really what brings me here is because when I saw Rob's video on Twitter and he was like, yo, I'm at the hospital. I think I'll get out. I got my Lambo. And I reached out to you and said, man, if there's anything I could do for the channel and could I come in twice? Just like, you know what I mean? And honestly, I wish I could have done it even when Rob was here, you know, and I want to be better about coming on more often. But honestly, that's my heart's with you guys, man. And I love you guys.
We love you too, man.
I hope
We love
Rob
you
has
too.
a good recovery. I know he's still struggling. He's here today, but he's still struggling a little bit. So Rob, my whole community's behind you. We love you. Let us know if there's anything we can do from you. Research, find out. Maybe we could learn something. I don't know what we can do, but if there's anything we can do.
Hola! Look what the cat dragged out the house today.
Is your boy back in the house?
I want to ask you.
I think I ruined it. I think I ruined it.
So Lifer brought up the Lambo. You still have the Lambo or what?
Yeah, I finished the Lambo. Yeah,
Okay.
Way too much time in my hands at the hospital. That's pretty cool though.
Good to see you in studio, man. How you feeling, bro?
Yeah, I'm still working back on my my rehab. Got some home treatment and stuff like that. I won't go too far in details, but little under the weather still, so I'm just kind of hanging out here in the producer chair. Me and Rocco in the back here, and
Now, you said you're not going to talk a lot today, but I got a feeling you're not going to be able to contain yourself. So we'll see. I don't know. You haven't been on camera for almost 3 weeks.
I prefaced before I came here, I was like, look, man, I'm just doing audio. I'm just here just to kind of get back in the flow. But you never know. I mean, Sam Bankman-Fried's on the docket. His boy going to court. So, you know, I'm definitely going to have to throw some love out his way.
That's what I'm
Or hate or shade or something of that. And then if you guys are new here, we'll be throwing up the Olas. So say hello. If you're excited to see Big Rob back, put an Ola on the chat. Put an OLA. See if we can get an Ola train going. I did see a few new people. You got Brian O, Wes S, Delamont Man say yes, Super Smoke, PS, Crypto B, Ashley D, Crunk C, Crypto Niz, Nando, .44, God is Love 528, and to all of you. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
I thought you were reciting the alphabet there for a second. Now, before we get into the content, do want to give a few shout outs. First and foremost, want to give a big thank you to our channel sponsors. And first up is Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you want to maximize your networking, IT, and cybersecurity when it comes to your business, and well, you just want to focus on making money, there is one company to call, and that is Cam's Blue Wire Tech. So visit bluewiretech.com. Also, big shout out to Radix, the top layer 1 DeFi in our space. They are also a sponsor of this channel. So big shout out to them. Also, a big round of applause for a successful mainnet upgrade to that entire team. If you want to learn more about Radix and you want to see what's in their ecosystem, visit radixdlt.com. And we do have a link in the description of this video. Now, speaking of videos, you know how we got to start your day off, guys? Some funny stuff. And, well, here. Exhibit A. Lifer, is that a beat you can flow with? That was solid, right?
That's amazing. It's amazing.
At what depths of the internet did you find that at?
It was pretty deep. I didn't need a submarine, but I had to go pretty deep on this one. Dogs are the best.
We have a beat boss competition one day.
We can do it right here, right now, bro. I'm kidding. Let's not do that. Then we have this poor little girl, and so here we have. We're gonna mute this. So here we have a birthday candle. What do you think is gonna happen next, Lifer? What do you think?
I mean, it seems like a balloon is gonna pop from the fire or something, right?
Okay.
And then, I mean, I hope she doesn't get hurt.
So, no. I wouldn't.
I don't think she was. Yeah. We already know that. Yeah.
Although I do laugh when my kids get hurt. Rob, any input on what do you think is gonna happen here?
Yeah, I have no idea, man. Balloons are gonna pop.
Guys, let's find out. The burning question you're all looking for the answer for.
Oh my god, that was great.
That was funny.
I don't know. It was a little lackluster. I was expecting a big explosion or something, man. You know,
The kid.
It was like
it's
right.
you've seen
There's a
the gender
child.
reveals. Those things are over the top. They got like bazookas and things. I was just expecting a little. I'm spoiled now. Okay,
You're spoiled. That's okay.
Yeah.
We'll spoil you. Want to give a shout out to Sailing to Crypto, gifted 5 Sin City membership. So big shout out to you, my friend. Thank you for supporting the channel, and thank you to all of you that support this channel. And we have this, guys. Just be careful. Free hugs. Why can't I breathe? And well, free hugs. And that one wasn't that funny, but here it is. We have breaking news. Breaking news, guys. Popeyes officially overtakes KFC as the number 2 chicken chain in the country. Chick-fil-A still remains number 1. Lifer, what are your thoughts on this breaking news here? Are you is this surprising to you? Are you sad? Are you a KFC guy? Are you a Popeyes guy? What are your thoughts? Is there a chart you want to show, maybe?
I don't condone. I don't condone fast food, but I can't tell you. I'm not gonna lie and tell you that I haven't had both. But honestly, I lived a block away from a KFC in Queens for 10 years, and I think I ate it one time because I found like a weird vertebrae in it. Like we found this bone in it, and me and my buddy were freaked out. And then like once or twice a year on Rockaway Beach, my buddy and me and from Queens, we would, go to the beach for the day, and there's a Popeyes there, and we would, we'd go to the beach, we'd go to Rockaway, and we would just like eat like a bucket of Popeyes chicken. Popeyes chicken's way better. It's way better.
I agree.
It's crispier. It tastes better. It's lighter. It's funner. The people are more exciting there. The people at KFC like look like they want to jump out of like they just don't look happy.
I don't know, man. The Popeyes by my house, man. The
mac and cheese is better at Popeyes.
Yeah,
right.
Agree with
like,
you.
let's be honest.
But
the biscuits
sandwich.
better.
The crew,
biscuits
crew at my neighborhood Popeyes,
they get it in.
They're not happy, man. I'm telling
Oh,
you,
they're
they're
pissed.
they
Yeah.
oh yeah, they mad.
Oh yeah, it depends.
But it all changed with that chicken sandwich, man.
That chicken sandwich.
That chicken
fire.
sandwich just smacks, bro. It just hit different, man. I'm telling you, something
I
about
gotta
it.
go to filet. I gotta go to God's Chicken, man. When I go to
It was
Chick-fil-A.
bomb. I want to know. I want to know what the chat thinks. Are you guys KFC or Popeyes? Put a 1 for KFC. Put a 2 for Popeyes. I think the panel here is pretty unanimous, and we're Popeyes people. So
Ooh, where are my KFC people at?
there's no KFC people.
Where are my KFC?
Nice.
People? Did you see the
KYC
tweet?
is too much like KYC.
Oh, damn. So can I get some trombone over here? There we go. There we go. All right. Speaking of food and which one is better? Did you see the tweet that I put out a couple of days ago? It was are you a Miracle Whip or a mayo kind of guy? And we actually got Hellman's to jump in on the conversation. So you're doing something right when you get the actual maker of the mayonnaise company to jump in. So
What's interesting to me is Robin took the time to create this little graphic here. By the way, Miracle Whip is disgusting. I don't know how anyone.
It
could
is
enjoy
not that bad.
It's pretty bad.
I've never had it. I've never had it. You know, I've never had it.
Miracle Whip, yeah. Don't waste your time, man.
It makes me think of that great Kanye, right? He goes, mayonnaise comes with benches. I push Miracle Whips. Like, that's the best line.
You know, so as Rob mentioned, Digital Asset Degen said Hellman's hands down, both with and without hot sauce mixed in, to which they said, have you tried our spicy mayo? They're shilling on our Twitter page. This is unacceptable. And so here we go. Garlic aioli dip spread. Okay. All right.
Garlic aioli.
But did they follow us? Let's find out. They didn't follow us. Come on, Hellman's. You know what? We're going to go ahead and follow you guys. I don't know why.
Send them a message.
What would you like me to say?
No DM. Let's
DM?
Let's go, and then we get our
DMs, man.
All right. Now send them. Put a post and be like, Hellman's, why no follow? We've been promoting you. Something along the lines.
Why?
This is wild. You guys are wild.
When follow?
When follow?
When retweet?
When retweet? When follow? Yeah. All right. So we have that. We also have this. So this isn't really funny, but I do want to show you because as AI and all that gets a lot more smarter, you might find videos of Crypto Lifer. You might find videos of us saying we're doing a giveaway or we're doing an airdrop. And it might sound like us, look like us. And so we would just want to show you the kind of things that AI can do. And to always know, and I'll speak for me and our channel and Life, you can speak on your own, but we will never, ever, unless it is, if we announce it here on the channel live on air that we're doing something like that, we will never do a random Twitter giveaway where we ask for information or an airdrop or a token or an NFT. And so if you ever see that or our Twitter gets hacked somehow, please don't be safe. But here's what they did to Elon Musk.
I only have 2 accounts, my Elon Musk account and baby's, but smoked 9,000 before testing new stuff.
I mean, that looks pretty realistic. Life, for anything you want to say to help the community kind of stay safe and make sure to not fall for any scams or anything like that?
Yeah, I just think it's an opportunity for a new company to create a better form of technology that can keep things just a little more kosher so we can see who is who. You know, right now we have the check, but maybe there could be something different. Like I can't think of it yet, but as this gets more and more prevalent, it's going to get a little out of control. And as people that are ignorant to this see this, they're going to run with it, and it's going to take them 4 or 5 years to pick. Hey, by the way, that's a deep fake. Like I was studying deep fakes 2 years ago, right? I mean, it's like, but this is something that we're going to have to deal with as a society. It's interesting, and there's going to have to be, and again, there's going to be it worries me because my mind thinks of a digital ID and a form of control, but then I also don't want people stealing and it's what a great way to usher us further into Big Brother. It's kind of interesting. I just did kind of saw where this could go, right? Oh, we need to have you secure because it's not you but yeah, just be careful. Go for the blue checks. Really make sure there's that blue check there on Twitter. Verify. Sometimes even that gets heisted. So verify if you can. If you see something funny that hasn't, the person that you watch is tweeting, he never pushes out a weird campaign or some giveaway. Don't click on the link,
That's what I'm saying.
I would say
call a friend of theirs or something,
I would say that if, no matter who it is, Elon Musk, your favorite YouTube personality, us, whoever it is, ain't nobody going to come out with some all of a sudden time sensitive alpha on some new project that's going to be like buy now or get left behind.
Time sensitive alpha.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like everyone, if it's like some get rich quick, hey, you're going to invest. It doesn't matter who it is. Vitalik, these big projects, they need to be time tested and ran through anyways and tested and go through beta and launch. And so there's no person I could think of that could entice me to invest in a new project without me still going and doing the research, right? I have to put in at least, I have to look at it for at least 2 weeks, right? A minimum. Like I would never invest in anything without taking an overview for a couple of weeks, look at the chart, see what's going on. I'm not going to buy anything the second it drops or comes out, or the second some personality says something. That's my own personal. And it's not there. And so why even take that risk? So that'd be my recommendation. If you've never heard of it, then don't buy it.
Yeah, if something sounds out of the ordinary or it sounds too good to be true,
If you've never heard it, don't buy it.
Yeah.
Or at least take the time to do the research.
it's always worth it. And it's like sales, right? You've been taught anyone that tells you, "Oh, we're selling out," or if you don't buy now, it's gonna be like they're just trying to sell you.
Yeah,
something. So
that's fake. There's no real investments that you have to buy absolutely now. I mean, I'm sure there are some exceptions in the history of time, but realistically, for if you're watching on YouTube, there's no investment that you need to buy right this second, or you're never going to make money on it. Like that's.
But what you do need to do right this second is hit the like button.
Also, I do gotta give a little shout out. Ultima Maya, 199 super chat says, "Glad to see you back, Rob." Also got a handful of new people. We got Ray G, Rudy Lane, Glenn, El Hero, Loco Chi, Big Beans, Joe, Pete S, Stack McChange, Crypto Boss, Crypto Trekker, Andres, and BitLab Academy also in the house as well. So to all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
Viva Las Vegas, baby. All right. So, crypto's been blamed for a lot of things. It uses, Bitcoin uses more energy than the entire country of Argentina. Bitcoin is used for illicit funds. And we have a new one here. Apparently, crypto is being blamed for fentanyl. It's compliments of, by the way, this is your state senator, Lifer. How could you let this happen? Unacceptable. Okay, so all jokes aside, Elizabeth Warren said, how do Chinese companies sell fentanyl? By using cryptocurrency transactions to conceal their identities and the location and movement of their funds. Let me tell you guys something. When we're at the point where this is the narrative we're starting to see, they're grasping at straws, right? The end is near for these guys. That's at least how I feel. How do you feel about this, Lifer? This is obviously pretty absurd, right?
If I had an army, I would make you a lieutenant or, a colonel. I don't know exactly. I should know but you always have the next thought, right? Like you don't get sucked in to the news and the narrative. I love that about you. I honestly didn't have that thought. At first I was like, man, she's moving in. What are they trying to do? They're going to try to make a tighter law, and then it ties into that whole VPN law, right? Like certain things come out and then you see they attach another idea and then they begin to build. She's always been a little interesting, right? With her Native American quote that didn't seem to last too long.
Yeah.
And just, a lot of things, I also researched her. She seems to be a do-gooder, like my mom was a school teacher. A lot of people probably love her and like people that I know, but I did some deep dives. Like she actually represented, I believe, cigarette companies for a while, a long time actually. And mainly a lot of her job, she switched at one point. She had a heart, but she was like a litigator. Like she basically made sure that these companies didn't pay out a lot of issues. Like, if they put oil spills somewhere and stuff like that. She represented large corporations. She makes, I believe, $400,000 a month. Like, you know what I mean? Like she is far reserved from the average person in Massachusetts. Well, actually, Massachusetts is pretty crazy. There's a lot of rich people here, but she doesn't fully represent us and the people. And she doesn't realize how Bitcoin unbanks the unbanked. Like she keeps forgetting about there's people that the banks don't let in. There's 3 billion people that the banks don't let even be open bank accounts, right? There's Africa. There's people around the world that want to be involved and want to be part of the economy. And through cryptocurrency, that's possible. So like, I feel like she's always trying to protect the little guy, but I don't think she ever realizes how much crypto can do for the little guy, And my closing arguments on it too is if they keep going in this direction, right? It's like, I mean, cryptocurrency is actually pretty trackable. Yes, they can put it through a mixer and find it, but you can figure out really where the funds came from a lot better than using dollar bills. So like,
it's
more
transparent than cash.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense to me,
It doesn't either. And, I think the nail in the coffin as far as senators and people running for office to kind of put a stop to this, pushing these narratives is to get them voted out, right? Elizabeth Warren has continuously won her Senate seat throughout, I don't know if is it 15, 20 or 8 to 12 years.
The problem, I live here, man. I live here and these people they are convinced she's a saint, man. Like there's just no way. It's just almost impossible to explain to these people that she might not be on their side. Like and most of these people don't care about crypto anyway. They're trust fund babies out here in Massachusetts getting hand down old money, So it's going to be tough to change the tide over here in this.
It'll say a lot. It'll say a lot if she does get voted out. It'll be a warning sign to the rest of the politicians that stand against crypto at your own risk. Now, this is some bullish news potential here. This is tweeted from Seth_Finn. The EU approves banks to allocate 2% of capital in Bitcoin by 2025. This is huge for crypto. Here's why. Banks entering in Bitcoin space is a sign that crypto is going mainstream. I agree. Institutional confidence. EU regulators believe in Bitcoin. They're putting their money where their mouth is. That one I can say, it's something that at this point they're like, hey, instead of the money leaving our system, let's keep some of it in here. Mass adoption catalyst, price surge. And so I also have this piece of news that I guess I can just couple with it. Where to go? The BIS. Right here. The Bank of International Settlements unveils platform to help central banks track Bitcoin. The Bank for International Settlements, which is a global central bank that serves other central banks, essentially the Bank of Central Banks, has designed a system to help authorities track Bitcoin trading activities across the world. According to BIS, the monitoring system will give authorities a clearer picture of how, when, and where the cryptocurrency is used. The monitoring system is a proof of concept platform that relies on data from on-chain and off-chain activities. BIS mentioned that monitoring and tracking cross-border crypto flows is a concern for central banks. Shocker. Thus, the central banks can get insight into the adoption rate and crypto activities in different regions through the monitoring system, right? So, we hear the first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. Feel like we've kind of already won, right? Right, Lifer? If we're reading articles here that went from we're banning them, it's not okay, to okay, fine 2%, to okay, actually we're going to put things in place to track where and how Bitcoin is used. Do you agree there that we're in the we won stage? Like they've understood now that our space and crypto, blockchain, and Bitcoin is inevitable, and now they just got to find ways to conform and make money from it?
I felt like we won when my life won, right? 2016, I'm trading Bittrex. I'm telling my friends, this is the new thing. I find out what Bitcoin is. 2017, I was telling everyone about tax, basically inflation coming and how we had to get ourselves out of in 2011 and 12. I was screaming about inflation over and over again. I started researching all different foreign currencies throughout the world. I have this joke. It's a currency. It's like the currency. Like if you put a leaf on the current, it keeps going and disappears. You won't see it anymore because the water takes it away. Like current is like, just a funny joke I made for myself, but it's like currency. Like currency is not meant to last. It's meant to drift away. And so I've been watching this for a long time. And then when my channel finally got some recognition, when I actually was able to quit my job, completely and become a crypto lifer full blown, and people that used to laugh at me saw me wearing suits and living the life and, traveling out to Las Vegas to meet you guys. And I believe that's when we really started to win, when the people that had put their heart, soul, and passions into crypto started to show the world that they were living better lives, that they had actually got away from inflation. Think about, had I not found Bitcoin, there's no way you guys would see me right here. There's no way I'd be the lifer. None of this would have happened. So how many more people's lives are going to change in the next bull run in the next 5, 10, 8 years because of cryptocurrency? So many. I'm not that unique. It may have happened to me earlier than some, but it's going to happen to so many. So we already won the fact that I'm on this show right now, the fact that we're here together. But yes, I say this is also a bigger move. But the fact that there's me, you, Ben Armstrong, all these different channels, all these other people out here, Altcoin Daily, it continues. I feel like we did win because, we're big channels and these people are growing and they live their lives off of cryptocurrency. It's a sustainable way to live your life.
And I do have before I throw it over to Rob, I do have a headline I'll share later talking about, a majority of people are big reasons why they're investing in crypto is to offset the high prices. Rob, what are your thoughts on what the banks are doing, the BIS, and do you agree that, the stuff we're seeing in the narratives that are being pushed that kind of tells us that they've kind of laid their arms down and they're like, okay, fine.
It's easy just to paint a picture of banks hate crypto and now they realize they need crypto.
But they painted that picture themselves, right?
No, well, I'm not saying they didn't, but it's a very convenient narrative to say, hey, the banks have absolutely hated crypto. They want nothing to do with crypto. They're bad. They've been against it. Oh, now look, now they want to come around. Yeah, I I think there's a little truth to that, but the way I look at the banks is that at the end of the day, they're just looking at their bottom line, right? And they want to just also mitigate risk. And so it doesn't really matter if you're saving a few dollars, if you're putting billions or trillions of dollars at risk or have vulnerabilities. And so the security aspect was always very big for the banks. But if you can assure security, no vulnerabilities, and yet you can bring down the price and make just day-to-day operations faster and more efficient and cheaper, it's going to be a no-brainer for the banks. And I think that also when it comes to vulnerability, it's not only just the loss of funds, but also the government coming after you for participating in crypto if it's deemed a security or an asset that you can't use. So with both the Ripple Lab court case getting a favorable decision from the judge, also with the ETF looming, that's going to soon pass, it being labeled essentially a commodity or at least not a security by Gary Gensler earlier last week. If you add all that together, ETF coming out, so basically institutions and investors, companies can get exposure, including banks, to Bitcoin in a spot market fashion, where you physically own or you own the underlying asset with a custodial agent, one that's tried and trusted like BlackRock. And then on top of that, you have the courts saying that these payment systems are valid, they're not securities, and that you can use them, XRP. And if you couple that together with the fact that time has passed and these systems are secure and they're faster and cheaper, the banks are just going to naturally gravitate to that. I think so. To have a narrative to say, hey, they hate crypto, now they like crypto, because no, I think it's just very simple. At this point, the banks are looking at crypto and they're like, hey, this thing works, it's safe, and you know what? They're getting a thumbs up from the government, and we can save some money by using it. And I think that is what is changing here. It's not necessarily one event. It's not one guy that changes his mind on crypto. It's the fact that the whole industry is evolving and the banks are seeing an opportunity to upgrade their system through private money.
But have they gotten the thumbs up from the government?
It's not quite here yet. That's why we're not seeing it. We're not seeing it run in real time.
So then why are we still seeing banks in the UK saying we're not gonna let you?
Well, I'm more in reference to the states. And I think that what the United States does is copied and mimicked by the EU particularly. And so if there's a strict divide on whether crypto should be integrated with banking in the States, I think that the divide will still be there in the EU. Now, they might pass legislation that says otherwise, but you think that that Great Britain and France and all the other major EU countries are going to completely do a different 180 when they operate off the bricks and the dollar system? They're not going to fundamentally change and take on risk. But now, once we get that ETF, once Gary Gensler puts down the guns there and just
carry the gun.
Once he stops being so douchey, bro. I mean, realistically, man. You got the ETH futures coming out. And if ETH futures are here, Bitcoin futures are here. It looks like the Bitcoin ETF the spot Bitcoin ETF is going to pass. That's going to usher in a crazy amount of liquidity into the system. Crazy amount. And then what stops ETH from going from futures to spot as well? And then at that point, it's open season, right? And then you take that, plus the courts are just knocking out Gary Gensler and the SEC's repeated efforts to slow down crypto. At this point, I think it's so inevitable that it's literally around the corner. And so I think within the next 2 years, banks will all banks will have exposure to crypto in some form with the rails and the systems, and they're going to be using it actively. They're not going to switch over. It's not like the dollar and the Swift's going to go bye-bye, but they are all going to have operating blockchains in their company.
Well, we're already seeing the likes of Swift partner with projects like Chainlink And so interesting. Lifer, you got anything to add to what Rob said?
No, I was just gonna say the same thing you said. Like Chainlink and Swift, man, like that gave me the chills. When I saw that news, they have no choice. All they do is move money around, and crypto moves money quicker, faster, and more efficiently.
Yeah.
So it's like they don't like. You'd be dumb not to implement it.
Yeah.
They just want to make sure it's on their terms, on their time, and
I believe that's part of the reason why we're seeing the likes of Visa and MasterCard really start to jump on board, because that's their entire business model, right? They generate their revenue via transaction fees, 2 to 3% they charge to the merchants for every time someone swipes a card. If now the money can be moved on the blockchain faster, cheaper, they're going to want to get ahead of that, or else their entire business model is going to completely collapse, like Blockbusters did when Netflix came out. Speaking of completely, go ahead, like
you rowboat, like you make people across like a lake rowing a boat, and the motor comes out, and I'm just going to keep rowing. It's ridiculous.
The horse and buggy's gone, guys. Get a car. Speaking of things that are breaking, this is headline. Something is breaking in the financial market. This is funny, but I'm crying inside. I'm gonna give you a little more. Context here. So we had this headline news from CNBC, and then we have this in the traditional markets. The stock market is in extreme fear, coming in at 24, and then we had this. Metro Bank shares plunge 50% as it tries to urgently raise $600 million in capital. And I want to show you guys what happened the last time when we had a banking collapse, okay? March 10th, 2023 is when Silicon Valley Bank completely collapsed, okay? Here we go. March 10th, 2023, we saw a rally of 42% from Bitcoin. I'll ask you first, Lifer. If we have plenty of analysts, even politicians, saying that there's more to come. If the Fed keeps this tight monetary policy, more banks are going to suffer, even though we have that discount window open at the Fed where banks can go and essentially borrow money to cover their unrealized losses. Do you see the same scenario playing out, Lifer? If we start to see another wave of banks start to falter, people see Bitcoin as a flight to safety, as we saw back in March with Silicon Valley Bank?
Yeah, I keep mentioning that because I've been in some spaces with a lot of TradFi people recently, and I find my perspective a little off, and because I'm new and self-taught, I kind of get brushed off or laughed at a little bit, right? And I kind of laugh to myself when I go to bed at night because I'm like, I think I'll have the last laugh, But what I mean by that is they keep mentioning recession and fear, and honestly, at the same time, I also do take what they say into account, because if we do see a massive dump in the NASDAQ and the S&P, for me, it pushes into digital assets. It pushes into cryptocurrency slightly, though, right? The S&P does not have a halving coming up. That's what I said on my last bit. I said the S&P doesn't have a halving coming up. When everyone tried to say that a recession could tear Bitcoin completely down, and then everyone keeps saying this: we've never seen Bitcoin in a recession. It's been going up ever since they printed money. It started 2008, but we have had pullbacks, and honestly, Bitcoin was less than a penny when it started. The fact that, fine, it may not, you know what I mean? To me, it did show you that it lapped the dollar like over and over and over and over. Like when people look at it now, they want it to be a risk on asset immediately. They want it to show immediately. They want it to show exactly what TradFi wants. It's going to, the second, the dollar goes, up, it's, or dollar goes down, Bitcoin's going to go up, and it's always going to be a hedge. And it's just, Bitcoin is in its own cycle. What will happen is Bitcoin will hit a bear market when it's supposed to be a hedge, and then they'll call it a non-risk asset, right? But if you were able to look at the 10-year cycle and understand cryptocurrency fully and not put your influence of TradFi on it, you'd be able to see the halving coming. And like you said, I keep saying it's only a matter of time. We know Bitcoin was created because Bitcoin would have never got to 10,000 if the banking system was made so good. See, you know what I mean? Like we're already in it and we can't see it already because we've all been brainwashed so much to believe what society thinks. It's not even true. Bitcoin already is the answer. It already has been the answer. Again, I am here. Found Bitcoin around $300 into $1,000. It changed my life. I had a little bit of savings that I never would have had before. And that gave me, when you finally have some savings, I'm talking 50 to 100 grand in the bank, that gives you some, now you can tell your boss, you know what? I'm not going to do everything you tell me to do. You know what? I am going to go try my own business. You know what? I have a little bit of a savings now, but when you're paycheck to paycheck And that's what Bitcoin did for me. It gave me a leg up in the world that I never would have had. And so it already did what it was supposed to do, and it's going to continue, everyone. And so even if we do get pulled back in TradFi, I do see the halving coming, and I see Bitcoin spiraling up, and I see another country adopting it, and I do see other banks collapsing, guaranteed.
I'll add to the kind of your narrative about Bitcoin not being in a recessionary period. It's always been in a
I hear
more of
that
a
all the
bullish.
time.
Yeah, but here's the thing: it's a commodity, right? And so commodities are priced in dollars, but they're scarce, right? So you can't really create commodities, right? I mean, you can create energy. Energy is a commodity, but essentially it's not something that you essentially produce. Where I'm getting at with this is that with commodities, they're tracked by price. So if you take any commodity, let's say oil, we can all agree that 10 years from now, oil is going to be more expensive than it is today for a gallon of gas, for a barrel of oil. You can say the same thing for a house. We could all agree, whatever your house is worth right now, $150,000, $300,000, $500,000. We all pretty much accept the fact that 10 years from now, it's probably going to be double the price, or at least a third, at least 50% more on the price. And that's just because of how our fiat system works. They're just going to keep printing and debasing our money. There's no difference here with Bitcoin. So whether or not we're in a recessionary period, we're in a bullish period, stock markets are rising, they're falling. Over the course of time, through the fiat system that we have now where we're printing, commodities, collectibles, and assets like Bitcoin, or just other assets that are in crypto ecosystem that aren't inflated or don't go to zero, they're all going to essentially go up in value. So just rest assured that regardless of what the economy is doing, Bitcoin is going to keep rallying, at least in the longer time horizon. And that's just economics.
Keep on keeping on, baby.
So is your house. So is that barrel of oil. So it's all going to keep going up in price.
We don't talk about oil on this channel, Robin.
And then real quick, let me just give a shout out. We got John Connor, J Daz, Jimmy M, Cooler J, Crypto Law, Andre, CKJDM, and also Rob up in here. So and also Chi Talk the Jedi. To all of you. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
All right, guys, let's get into the markets. And we've had Lifer on for 45 minutes, and we have not shown a single chart. That just tells you that Sam is more than just a chart. He can sit here and have the word I'm looking for is multifaceted. That's not the word, but versatile, like a Swiss Army knife. We can sit here and talk about news. We can sit here and talk about charts. Well, let's get into the charts real quick. I have this. So this is open interest, and we can see open interest start to tick up. We're seeing a uptrending channel here. We're currently right around $23.25 billion in open interest for Bitcoin, which of course is good. And then just take a peek at what the markets, where the markets are at. So we have the Crypto Fear and Greed Index coming in at a 45, which is considered neutral. Volume is down to 27.4 billion, which is down 13% over the last 24 hours. Bitcoin, 27,531. We did hit 28K today, but we came back down. Lifer, can we take a look at a Bitcoin chart? What can we expect over let's say the next 10 to 14 days? What's the structure on Bitcoin look like, and any levels that we should be looking out for?
Let's take a look. I'm going to build this chart with everyone here. So you can kind of go with
it. Just real quick, I love that because you can talk through why you're drawing certain lines, why you're using certain indicators. And I think it goes to the fact of, teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Teach someone how to set up a chart, explain to them why, and it'll serve them better than just, Anyways, go ahead.
I did just open up a long too. We'll see what happens. All right. Just a scalp on the 1 hour receipt. So number one, you want to look at the weekly. For me personally, I like to look at the weekly. I like to double click. I don't want to look at any indicators. I have the VRVP up here, but I'm not really like, I just look at price action, right? And you're going to get so much from price action. The longer you trade, the more you can get out of just looking at bars, the less you'll need indicators. Like some of the greatest traders literally don't use not even an indicator. They can just, and I can get that. A lot of my trades come from that idea. But look, these two candles, both this one, went up, closed, this one closed and came down. So that's going to be what's called weekly resistance. And you can actually hover over the candle up here. You're going to see OHLNC, see where the candle closed. It closed at 27,123. So we know that we have weekly resistance at 27,123. And we see these candles here too. So you see this little bit of chop and that's going to be weekly resistance. Then this weekly candle closed here at, and you can see where this candle opened. It opened at 27,120. Actually, hold on one second. Yeah, this weekly candle closed at 27,123. This is 25,940. So now okay, at 25,900, we have a strong support. So we do not want to see Sunday night. We do not want to see this weekly candle close below 25.9. Like that's going to be a bear signal because it's going to say that the weekly candle is closing below weekly support, right? And then your next idea you'd be looking for is 26.5, and then So just take through a grain of salt. You don't really have to think about anything lower right now than 25.9 because that's the next area that we need to once we go there, we can begin to analyze further down. And we can give all the levels, but it's good to give your mind only what you need each section of Bitcoin trading, right? So what we'd love to see is the weekly open above the resistance, right? Or close above the resistance. So if we can get a candle close above 28,000 here, this is going to be basically 28,000. I don't know why that yet. This is 28K is the resistance. Apologize for that. 28K. So we want to see Bitcoin close above 28,000 on the weekly. And we don't want to see it close below 25.9. So that's like your first thing. Write down 28 and 25.9. Like those are two areas that are key. If you wake up in a week from now and you went on a trip and you come back and you see Bitcoin's at 28.5, it's likely the weekly candle closed bullishly. And that's going to be, somewhat of a good, that's going to be, better than bearish. So now I look at the 3-day chart. I like to move into the 3-day. 3-day, the resistance is a little lower. So I write those down because they change. You can leave them on the chart. It's almost too much to keep weekly and all that stuff on. So I write those down and I remember them, or I'll have them on another chart for myself. I really wanted this 3-day chart to close above 3-day resistance, which is sitting here at 27,650 really. So we had it, we were doing it. Everything was going well. We lost it this morning with that, crazy dump. We went up to 28,000. I was in a long last night and I closed it at 28.8. I just had a limit order that hit on the live stream. I almost didn't even realize it. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm out of the trade. Luckily that was pretty dang close to the local top, but I didn't open up a short, which would have been great. So now we're looking at the idea is where's our support? So you have a strong support here, 26.8. So, and there's really not a lot of, too much strong support really, you lose this key level, 26,800 is going to be a real strong area you're going to want to be paying attention to. Now we move into the daily, and the daily is where I begin to kind of draw my shapes, right? So I see this as a rising wedge. Okay. Rising wedges do break down 68% of the time, but they can also be at the beginning of a parabola. So you're looking at, okay, could the daily start to basically fill in this pattern? And, so you are looking at if Bitcoin ever does break above 28,000, comes up and does what's called a retest, that would be a key area for a beautiful long. If it can break out and retest 28,100, bang, because then you have a nice move up to basically this high volume node. And you have a gap here in the VRVP that will tell you can get up pretty close to this area pretty fast. That's why you have chop here. And when you move down fast, you can move up fast. And we moved really fast here in this area, which means if we get that move up, that could be a really nice swing trade for a lever trader or even just someone who wants to swing spot. So that looks good to me. Now, this SR flip, which I played, and this is why I was able to make a swing trade recently, was just off this. Previous resistance became strong support on these 2 daily candles, and we got this nice push to the upside. So now I'm going to zoom into the 4-hour for you where it gets even, a little more complicated. The 4-hour we see today, we hit that high at 28. We hit a high at 28.6. We came back down. Now, when I'm looking at it, 2 scenarios right now, all right, and I'll show you why I basically took a really high risk long right now during the show, and it may not pan out. One thing I'm seeing that could be bearish is look, that's a neckline that could be considered a shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder, and that would break us back down to the bottom of this pattern, right? Head and shoulder pattern, you'd break back down. However, previous resistance was strong support there. Previous resistance was strong support. And listen, I made a huge long on Sunday night. Same idea here. This was resistance. We came down. I went in hard. I drew this as a little pennant. right? I took the measured move. I said, man, I believe we can get up. Bang, I nailed that trade. It happened. And all I did really was play previous support, previous resistance was support, and a little of my other little quick indicators to give me an indication to get in. But it was based off this same concept. You couldn't get above it. You couldn't get above it. You came, you retested that area. That's telling me that we may be making a higher. So here's a low, high. This could be a higher low. And so I'm willing to take into account that we're making what's called a symmetrical triangle, which is a 50-50 pattern, which could go up or down tonight, basically. And the 1 hour is very oversold. So if you're trading small, if you're trading big time frames, remember, just write down those weekly areas in the 3-day and don't stress it too much. But if you're trading small time frames, like this trend line really needs to hold here. This breaks, we're going to test 27.2. That breaks, we're very likely going all the way back to 26.8. And I'm a big user of Bookmap. They had a big bar of liquidity down here, and we hit the liquidity. So we kind of ate the big bars of liquidity. That's all longs got liquidated. These are longs that got liquidated. They liquidated a lot of shorts. Today was a big day for people that are getting liquidated left and right. I'm glad I got out of my trade at like 9:30, and then I watched the chaos. I got out right up in here, and then it just went, crazy, and I didn't trade since. So I'm thinking of getting back in now that they've gone through everybody, but the volume will be slow. We're heading into Thursday, Friday. It's going to be tight. So I'm looking for a bounce here off the bottom of this up the bottom of this. I'm looking for this, right? And then some tightness. And then if we stay in here, I'm gonna double into the trade. So right now I'm in the trade for lighter. If it keeps going and we stay in here, it's going to tell me that we did bounce from there and that this point of control on the VRVP is holding. And I'm going to attempt just to get a scalp to this probably resistance. I'm not trying to go all the way to the target, just the resistance there. If this falls out and does a bearish retest, we're likely going to come down here. And then you could see maybe a bear flag here. And that would be a nice short to the downside. So I'm open-minded for both things to happen. Right now, I'm trading the long because this trend line is holding and we're very oversold. At 27.5 is a key area of support. So, and again, I could be wrong. This could dump in 2 seconds. So I hope
I do want to throw some your way, Lifer, and to everyone watching. So tomorrow we have unemployment data coming out. And so anytime we have big numbers, CPI, unemployment, JOLTS reports, we do tend to see a little bit of volatility, and it starts in the traditional markets and typically bleeds into the crypto markets. What I'm assuming is everyone's going to think that, hey, if we get a higher unemployment rate, if we start inching towards that 4%, or if we get to 4%, the markets are going to dump. I actually think the opposite. Because what I think is going to happen is the traders and the investors in the stock market are going to see unemployment continue to go up, and they're going to expect and assume the Fed to start cutting and doing quantitative easing again. Versus if the unemployment rate stays neutral or actually goes down, we might see a sell-off in the markets. So just something to keep an eye on as far as from a news-based side to expect some volatility. Any experience on your end, Lifer, when it comes to big numbers like that in the macro world that come out? Anything you notice? Any trends that pertains or ties back into Bitcoin or crypto, or what's your strategy when it comes to trading around big number economic releases like that? Do you have one, or just
Yeah, I have a great strategy. I don't trade them. I normally don't trade them. It's very rare for you to see me trade Fed Day. I just don't. And the reason why is because I'm like pattern. I'll study a pattern all week. I'll wait for the fib to come back down. And, traditionally, if nothing's going on and there's no news, I will hit my 786 or my fib retracement. The trade will start to come back up and I can manage it. But on days of volatility like that, what happens is you have too many other people. This is what they do. They have too many other people that they know there's going to be volatility, so they want to play it. So tons of people open longs and shorts at the same time. I've seen them both get liquidated, lose both positions. You see people jump on either end, and then there's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of retail traders that don't even know it's Fed Day. Like they just got into a trading group or something, and no one explained that to them. And they're just like, and they're chasing green and red candles. So because of the added on emotions of all the other people, the market acts too volatile for me and a little out of control. If it loses a key area of support and it says short, I'll take it. Like if there's a good trade out there and my indicators say take it, I'll take it. But generally, I like to purposely not trade the market on Fed Day. I always, I'll go live and stuff, but I always tell my students, I'm not going to trade Fed Day. Like I had the last 12 days, I've hit every trade I put out to my trading group on Bitcoin. It's been my best streak of almost my trading life, really. Every single trade for 12 days straight, like just bong, bong, bong. And so Why should I open up a trade tomorrow and like mess up my streak or lose more money than I need to because I felt I had to trade Fed day? You know, one thing I want to ask you real quick is, do you know the expectation and where we're at? Could you tell us like what they're expected and what they think is going to happen? Do you have that anywhere?
Yeah, I can probably pull this up here via forecast. So the numbers come out tomorrow. The forecast is 3.7 on the unemployment rate. So they're expecting it to come down 10 basis points. So last month it came in at 3.8, which was a tick up. They're expecting it to go down to 3.7, which, to what I said earlier, I would expect that to be as a negative signal, because we know risk on markets tend to pump when there's liquidity that's added to the market. And what better liquidity added to the market than the Fed doing quantitative easing and them printing money? So that's one thing to keep an eye on. But go ahead.
Hey, we have to explain this to people too, because some people get it. I mean, most of us get it, but I when I first heard it too, I think I needed this explained. The Fed wants the jobs to go down, like, which is like, because if the Feds go down, there's less demand. If there's less demand, okay, the prices can go down, right? And so inflation can be quelled. So and every time they've raised inflation in the past, in the 80s, right? They've looked at historically, we have lost jobs, you know. That's why, you know, Elizabeth Warren was grilling, you know, she was grilling them, and she was like, every time you raise rates, you know, she's like, is that what you're gonna do? You're gonna, and it's like, it's so funny because then they're just they're gonna keep spending though, which none of it made any sense to me.
There's something called wage inflation, which is what the Fed worries about. Is there's such a gap in workers that are working and ready to work versus how many jobs are available. So they're afraid if they keep tightening, right, inflation stays high and the unemployment rate is going down or stays the same, then we're going to see wage inflation. People are going to they're going to ask for more money. Companies are going to have to give it to them because there's not enough people to fill these jobs. And that's going to cause inflation to go back up, because we know these companies are not going to take the L on their profit and loss. They're not going to pay Sam Price another $10 an hour on top of what he's getting paid, and then he's like, oh, we'll just take it out of our top line revenue. No, they're going to raise the prices on their goods and services, which causes inflation. So
replace this with a robot, right?
Yeah. So that is what the Fed looks at. But that is a lot of key economic analysts. They look at the unemployment rate, because the Fed's dual mandate, they always say, is prices and unemployment. And so once they start seeing unemployment go up, to them, that'll be like, all right, we're ready to, at least that's what the economists say, we're ready to start cutting rates again, start pumping some liquidity into the markets. So something to keep an eye on, okay? I do want to go over the rest of the markets here. Ethereum coming in at $1,616, down 2% over the last 7 days. BNB, XRP, Solana at number 7, up 15.92%. Gave back a decent amount of gains that it had. It got up to over $24, sitting right around $22.50. It did leapfrog Cardano, which is coming in at 26 cents. Doge and Tron round out the top 10. And then just to take a look at the crypto bubbles over the last day, we have a few in the green. Aave is up 5.4%. Telegram token is up 6.3%. Thorchain up 5.2%. Some of the biggest losers: Gala is down 7.3%. XRD is down 7.6%. And Caspa down 5.4%. Now, I want to talk about this. Sam Bankman-Fried. And before I go over this tweet here, I used this tweet because I didn't find another one that had a breakdown quite like Martin Shkreli's did. Some of the language in here I'm going to reword or not even go over because I think it's kind of absurd and asinine. But it did a decent job of breaking down the jury. And as you can tell in the title of today's show, his jury has been revealed. So his analysis is it is a disaster. It looks like Sam's only chance is to convince the cancer banker, aka NHL or Hong Kong, to acquit. Everyone else in that jury is going to convict him. 9 women, 3 men. I generally view this as awful. I could be convinced it's only slightly bad, but there was no doubt in my mind this is a disadvantage. Said there's and he kind of breaks down a 39-year-old physician assistant who's pregnant, and he's just saying, I think she's gonna. So they're essentially saying, what type of people are going to be more susceptible to feel bad for the guy and believe his stories, and what people are going to look at him and be like, damn, you frauded people out. We should convict him. Talk about that. There's a nurse and a 59-year-old man, social worker, nonprofit fundraiser, essentially saying that the people that social workers, people that work for nonprofit, they're going to be more empathetic towards the people that lost money. So they're going to be more apt to maybe put in a guilty verdict. There's a guy working in the post office. There's a corrections officer saying those guys are going to convict. The Metro North conductor with 5 kids has a chance to champion Sam. Ukrainian Bloomberg employee is a wild card, probably will be quiet in the jury room. There's a special ed teacher and there's a librarian apparently. And then he talks about this gentleman who has cancer. But this man was a banker and can teach the rest of the jury that Sam might be innocent if the defense can connect. The rest of the jurors will feel really bad for him. Of course, this is his opinion. Okay. He's saying the person that has cancer used to be a banker. He might come out and he's the only expert in this field, so to say, right? And he might try to convince the other people, hey, stuff like this happened. It was bad bookkeeping, whatever the case may be. We know it's his trial started yesterday. And so I'll ask Rob first. Any thoughts on this list, Robin? Any thoughts on the trial in general? Just I'm keeping this. I'm more on the general side. So share anything you want to share.
I don't put too much into the jury. You're always gonna have jury members that lean one direction or the other. It's gonna be the case they put together. I'm just curious. Can they paint Sam Bankman-Fried as a fool, as somebody that trusted other people, that was negligent, that had no idea what was going on, was in way over his head? And if they can do that, and I'm not advocating for it, I'm just saying that if they can paint him as a guy that wasn't trying to steal money, but that ran a multi-billion-dollar organization
With QuickBooks
and just had no structure, and it kind of just collapsed at the seams when his token was dumped on, price collapsed. He had exposure, too much exposure on his own token. I could see a scenario where the defense is just simply saying, hey, this guy, he's going through the middle of a bear market. He mismanaged his funds.
$10 billion.
Yeah. He mismanaged. I'm just giving you the narrative of the lawyer. He mismanaged his funds.
To be clear, this is not what you think, right?
No.
Okay.
No. But this is the argument that a lawyer is going to make.
Yeah.
A lawyer is going to stand up and say, hey, Bitcoin's price, crypto's price, way down from where it was. You have a rival exchange openly admitting that they're going to dump billions of dollars, like a 20% of all the FTT token, on the open market on the order books, knowing damn well that's going to collapse the price. Even with that, there is an asset sheet that was floating around a week before, giving the exposure of FTX to their own token. So it can be so easy to point the finger to say, hey, this was a calculated attack by Binance. And these guys just put themselves out of position, and they were extremely vulnerable, and they mismanaged money, and they didn't have their books tightened up. And I think that is not that far-fetched for the defense lawyers to put together for Sam Bankman-Fried. Now, we know what's up. We know he was cooking the books, no stop losses.
Commingling funds.
Yeah, commingling funds, Alameda Research. That was a whole cesspool in itself. We know what's going on. But my concern is that these jurors that they're putting out that have no experience in crypto, that don't know what the hell an order book is, that don't know what a venture capital arm, Alameda Research, what that means and why they should be segregated. These people don't know that. They're just going to have a defense lawyer be like, hey, he didn't know what he was doing. The dude was a fool. Look at his haircut. You know what I mean? Like, I genuinely believe, and if you think that this guy's just going to simply go to jail because the prosecution just makes him sound like he's just out to get nobody, to get everybody, and then yet you got a defense just over here saying, hey, this guy, way over his head, he was clowning around, new money, he's like 20-something years old, mismanaged everything, it all collapsed, bear market, and he got dumped on by Binance. I could see a scenario where this dude sees very little prison time, they might drop all those fraud charges, and he just might see the lesser of them.
Don't say that. Lifer, what are your thoughts?
My only rebuttal to what he says is, when we dig deep, we heard Caroline rolled, the other dude rolled, so he can't claim that apparently. And hopefully on the witness stand, they're going to go on him and they're going to rip him apart. So they've all turned on him. So I pray, it could happen. I see what you're saying, but let's hope that they can show him as not this naive guy they can show that he knew way more. And I think they might have come together with an idea to throw him under the bus. They might have created a narrative where they're all going to say the same thing, So
remember, there's going to be cross interrogation of those witnesses. Though Caroline going to have to take a stand, the defense lawyers are going to go up there. Now, remember,
who would not want to watch that? Who would not want to see that?
Bro, that is going to be so good, man. Because she got a spotty past, man, and with her family connections, and then she's got tons of videos out there talking about her trading practices and how she makes money. Bro,
we don't use our
lives. I'm just saying that they're gonna attack her credibility, right? And at what person works there? And then who was the business partner? Was it Trabico or whatever?
Trabuco. He's nowhere to be found. Which is
and then this dude,
he's running high school right next to my house. So weird.
And he is running. He is known for running a scam. A video poker.
No, that was Dan Friedberg.
Dan Friedberg, yeah,
that was Dan Friedberg.
And then, anyways, it's been a while since I freshened up on all the names. But anyways, where I'm getting at is that there's just a cesspool of employees. So it's gonna be.
About the ECC, or you're talking about that?
I'm talking about the whole FTX, bro. FTX from top to bottom. That weird 11 people living in there, all banging up in the Bahamas. The defense lawyer is going to tee off on them, bro. The defense lawyer.
You think Gary Gensler is going to be called to testify? Because he met with Sam.
He's not going to testify. Stop.
He met with him.
That's
what was he doing in those meetings? What was going on there?
He's not, bro. He's not going to testify. Calm down. But I'm telling you, the defense lawyer is going to have a field day. He's going to have so much ammunition on all those witnesses to bring the character witnesses down, to make them seem uncredible. And I'm telling you,
Robin, what are your thoughts if we send you to his trial and it's open to the public?
Is it?
Yeah.
Tiffany's
you want to report
right?
from on scene at Sam Bankman-Fried's trial?
No, I don't, man. I'll be honest with you.
All right, fair enough. I don't know. My thoughts are Sam's a piece of shit. He deserves. I know, right?
Hey, what are you talking about?
Not you. We like you. You're good. Sam Bankman-Fried is a piece of crap.
I'm not going to jail.
But I think what I think, and of course we're speculating here. None of us are lawyers. But my thing is, the defense is going to try to say, look, this kid's got problems. Look at all the medication he's on. He's always fidgeting. He didn't know any better. He was led wrong. But what's interesting to me was Sam was not offered a plea deal. And because we keep hearing this narrative of they're after Binance, they're after CZ, the U.S. government. Obviously, with what happened and CZ publicly saying they're going to sell the FTT token, which is essentially was a catalyst to the whole downfall, which I'm not saying was wrong of him to do that. I think it was actually good. We cleansed that out of the system sooner than later. But it's interesting that if they really were after Binance, like they say they are, what better than to offer the guy who literally did business with CZ a plea deal to give up all the dirt and information he possibly had? Or was there nothing there? I don't know. That was what was interesting to me is no plea deal was offered to Sam Bankman-Fried. It was offered to Gary Singh. It was offered or Nishad Singh, to Gary Wang, and of course Caroline Ellison. So do want to give a shout out to my man Crypto Billy dropping a 50 piece for Rob's Lego fund. Yeah, better, bro. Great to see Sammy cup in handy.
Dude, I put together 2 Lego sets when I was up there.
I saw the studio one. That was pretty dope.
Yeah, a little camera.
The camera one.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And also, Crypto Billy's been a whale member for 13 months.
Hey.
Guys, we need some more whale members. We haven't had anybody new join. It's not really worth it financially, but we appreciate it.
You don't get much in return. Well, actually, they get credits. They get 10% off merch.
Yeah, and we got a cool animation that pops up.
And they're on the website too. They're on our website. Speaking of websites, I found this really cool website I want to show you guys. Oh look, well, what better person to talk about this than the man himself, the Lifer. New website looks great, by the way. If people want more Crypto Lifer, is this where they should go?
This man is so photogenic, man.
You know what's funny is you were like, I found this new website, and I'm like really excited. I'm like, I looked up and I'm like, what website is he going to? You know, and I got all excited. And then I'm like, and then I was like, wow, what a nice guy. You know, you guys are so nice. Thank you so much. No,
Amen.
we worked on the new website. Eventually, it's going to have learning material in there too, where you can like log into a portal, see what you've learned, track yourself, see where you're at, take some quizzes. Right now, you can join the 99 trading group. You know, it's the best place to support me if you're going to support my business. You know, businesses, there's always payment people in between. So this is the best way to do it. So cryptolifer.com. Also, we have a newsletter that comes out every single Monday morning.
Just subscribe to it.
My team is, thank you so much. My team is working so hard on the newsletter. And that's a great way because you never know what happens to YouTube or all these platforms. And we get to capture email, know who you are. And that way we have our own community of people. So see me on Twitter all the time. See me on YouTube, cryptolifer.com, man. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I do want to give a couple last shout outs to channel sponsors. So big thank you to Cam's Blue Wire Tech for bringing you today's 4K stream. If you want to learn more about their business and how they can help you grow, visit bluewiretech.com. Also, big shout out to Radix, Radically Better DeFi. If you want to learn more about their ecosystem, what is happening in the Radix ecosystem and the network and the developers, visit radixdlt.com. Follow us on Twitter. Rob, it's nice to have you back in the studio, man. People thought you got Armstronged out of here. That's not the case, obviously, as you're back. People, because the timing was bad, right? The whole thing happened with Hit Network.
And then yo ass brought a freaking Lamborghini Lego to the. I was like,
look. Okay,
you are so clueless, bro.
Listen, dude.
Like
you said, hold on.
Ben is over here yelling about getting his Lambo back. And then lo and behold, you bring in a Lambo, and I put that on Twitter. I'm just like, bro, this looks like a troll, bro.
You said, get me something with a lot of pieces because I'm here for a while. And in my head, I'm like, all right, I'll spend $50. I'm not going to ask him for the money. I'm going to buy it for him. I'm not trying to spend $100. I'll spend 50. That was my limit.
I feel like you're clueless, bro. I feel like you would invite an ex-girlfriend to a
Hold
wedding.
on. So I'm browsing, and all the $50 high piece Legos are like Barbie and Legos, Lego Friends or whatever. And I saw this sweet Lamborghini, 800 pieces. It didn't even cross my mind, the whole Lambo thing. So
sure.
It was
like a $300 set or something.
But anyways, Rob, I'll kind of give you the mic to close us out here. Anything?
All right. Well, let's give a last love to the chat here. We do have Eric JT, Kazuma X, Nicholas, Crypto Remora, Fernando Sicko, Larry Jackson, and Andrian, Dana. It's me. It's Mr. Armstrong 33, Benjamin Coles, Water Wiggler Abuser, and so to all of you,
hola! Water Wiggler Abuser.
Welcome.
He loves abusing that water wiggler.
City Crypto.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's good to be back here. Still under the weather, man. So no promises I'll even be here tomorrow.
You barely talked today. You were real quiet.
Yeah, it was anyways, hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. And then yeah, man, it's good to be back in the saddle here. Maybe I'll be behind the standing desk next week. We'll see. Who knows?
Well, we're happy to have you back, my friend. We're also happy to Rocco.
Someone thinks you've been cloned. Someone says it's not Rob. He's been cloned. He
right.
looks too young.
That's what they say about everyone that comes back. Anyways, the John Fetterman guy though, his that's weird one.
You know what's funny is that your man is always trying to keep himself looking clean. The second I got home, an hour later, I was at the barbershop. And then
did look.
I literally had like a
looked pretty worn down.
I had all kinds of tubes and bags, and anyways, I was looking a hot mess. But
yeah, I leave the hot out of it. You were definitely a mess. Anyways, Rocco. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Big thank you to Lifer for joining us. Come back tomorrow. We'll have Forrest for Forrest Fridays. On behalf of all of us here at Sin City Crypto, we love you guys. Until tomorrow. Peace.
Sin City Crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Named according to your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya, to the moon, then to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting